Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stan Houston. I'm a longtime teacher. I'm also quite a storyteller and a longtime international broadcaster, particularly in the world of missionary radio. And I'm a business performance coach. And in this time and stage of our life and in the situation in our world, I'd like to try and help those of us who are in the business of seeking to share the Word of God and the message of Jesus and the power that can come to us as we follow Him in unique and powerful ways. First of all, many of the things that we've tried before, they may still work in some ways, but everything in terms of media and how we communicate is changing and changing rapidly. The traditional radio program has been around now for about 100 years. But of course, radio is being transformed as the podcasting phenomenon, the digital media, the YouTube phenomenon has changed everything in terms of what is possible and what we may have to do. And so I would like to recommend that you think a little bit differently about what we are all about. And as you see, I have a little kind of a diagram that a friend put together, and you saw it as we began. I'm claiming that what we need to do is find a way where we really hear the Master's voice. In our reading, in our praying, in our teaching, in our learning, we seek to do like that old RCA picture was of the dog listening on the gramophone, and the expression was, his master's voice. Well, we need to be the master's voice. And how do we do that? Well, we've got to figure that out. And then what we do is we, in effect, speak God's wisdom. That's right. Speak God's wisdom. Much of what we are traditionally doing in the past has been effective in some ways, but now, what do people want? Well, they don't want more religion. They don't want more God stuff. They don't want more people telling them what they should do. But what they will begin to listen to is when they sense that there's some real wisdom and some insight and some truth that can help them change their lives and live better in their world and perhaps in the world. In effect, they would like a touch of wisdom. And what we are called to do is to be able to not only possess that wisdom, and that's important, but then to know how to speak it and to perform it and to share it in ways that are unique, attractive, engaging, perhaps perplexing, but powerfully attracting, so that men and women can make the move. That's right, make the move and do the deal. And the deal is very simple. They decide to follow Jesus. That's the deal. They decide to follow Jesus. Now, how do we do that? Well, what we would like to do is begin to share with you a program that we will give it whatever name we should, but let me give you the subtitle of it. Here it is. Okay, you got it? Here we go. God's message, God's methods, and modern man's media. What do we need to do? Those of us who are committed to this kind of mission, what is God's message? Do we know what it is? We have to discover what God is about and what His message is about. And does that change for people and situations? Is there one message, or is there a variety of messages? Why didn't St. Paul write the same letter to all of the churches? I mean, why did he have different messages for different churches? but it was all God's wisdom. All right? What is God's message? What are God's methods? Well, he isn't speaking in burning bushes as much anymore, maybe some places. Well, what are God's methods? What were Jesus' methods? He was an incredible communicator. Have you ever thought about trying to imitate his methods? And then, here we are. Microphones and video cameras and podcasts and social media. How do we take modern man's media, which by its very nature will always tend toward the dark side, tend toward evil? It's no mistake, and unfortunately it's always true, that the media tends to go to the dark side. One of the first things that flourished in the new internet, of course, was pornography. And of course, it still is one of the more popular, unfortunately, places that people still go. How do we take that media that is kind of that way most of the time and begin to bend it and use it in such a ways that it can still be an instrument of speaking God's wisdom? Well, that's what I'd like to challenge you to think about, because we're going to begin a whole series of teaching, presentations, and lessons on just that subject. We're going to begin with a 20-minute pilot program, and from that program, I would like you to say, I want to be a part of the class, the coaching, and the experience where I will learn how to do God's message. Discover it, find it, seek it out, and make sure it's relevant to the audience that I'm seeking to speak to. What are God's unique and powerful methods for communication? And then, how do we take that good stuff and then use that not so good stuff, modern man's media, to make it work in the world today? I think we know how to do that. And I think we can together learn how to do it better. So I would invite you to reach out to me at stan@witradio.net, stan@witradio.net. As I said, I'm the leader of What It Takes Radio, and we are truly trying to build a way to listen to the Master's voice and find a better way of seeking and speaking and sharing God's wisdom with the world. Let's see what we can do. Best and blessings. I'm Stan. Bye for now. Please reach out to me, Stan Houston, at stan@witradio.net. Witradio.net is our website, and 520-664-7002 USA.